Hey everyone, my name is Neil and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to show you how to make this simple desk in Fusion 360. All right, before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that Fusion 360 is free to download for personal use if you're making less than $1,000 USD annually. For the design and 3D modeling, they're the same on both, and that's what's most important. So I'll leave a link in the video description below. Let's get started on the design. So right now we have this example that I just did. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new design. So I'm going to click here on this plus tab and we're going to get started. So the first thing we want to do is we want to open up our origin planes here so that we can see our XZ plane, our YZ plane, and our XY plane. And we're just looking over here to see those coordinates. All right, so we're going to have a total of 4 pieces. So we're going to create 4 components. First, we're going to add a new component, and we're going to call that our tabletop. Then here over on our tree, you could see now we have our tabletop added, and we're going to click new component again, and we're not going to activate it because we don't want to keep switching. And then we're going to call this our left leg, and that gets added to the tree. Then we're going to do it again for our right leg. And then we're going to have a piece running across the bottom, and that's going to be our crossbar. But we'll save that one for last. And here we're just going to save it before we get started, and we're going to call it training 2. Okay, so now we have it training 2. And so let's go ahead and activate our tabletop. So we're going to highlight and hover over it, and then we're going to click activate component. So now that that's activated, you'll see that we will have more things in our tree, and then on the bottom here for our feature tree timeline as well. So here, that's going to go ahead and click create sketch, and then we're going to click on this YX plane. And the first thing we're going to do is we can hide this sketch palette. But now that we have the origin right here, we're going to sketch off our origin. So we're going to click create rectangle, center rectangle. And we're going to click on the origin, and then we're just going to spread out randomly, and we're going to drop it. So now that we've done that, we can press escape and see here we have the beginning of what will be our tabletop. So we need to dimension it because right now we don't have anything constrained, and we could still move this up or down and left and right. So we want to lock in space. So the first thing you want to do is always lock these parts in space and all these sketches. So we're going to click the top. We're going to click sketch dimension. We're going to click top and bottom. And then we are going to make our depth of our tabletop 24 inches. So we're going to type in 24. Okay. Then we're going to zoom out. So now we have the depth at 24, and we're going to have the length or the width be 48. Okay. So now we have a tabletop, and if we hold shift and the middle button to rotate, now we have a tabletop that's 24 inches in depth and 48 inches in width. So our sketch is fully defined, and we know that because if we were to delete the 24, we can still move it up and down, but we can't move it left and right because we have the 48. And also, our lines turn black. So when they're blue, like the top and bottom are, that means that they're not fully defined yet. So let's go ahead and click Sketch Dimension again. Click here, there, and type in 24 and finish the sketch. And now if we hold the shift and the middle button, we can rotate again. And we're going to give some geometry to our sketch, add some volume. We're going to click extrude, and we have a choice to extrude down or extrude up. Now, since our legs are going to go down, we want to take advantage of this YX plane, which is right here. So we're going to extrude up. And we're just going to extrude the width of a plywood thickness. So we're going to do 0.75. Okay, so now if we click the bottom and the top and hold control, you could see that the thickness is 0.75. So that's our tabletop. And if we go back to our top level and activate the component, you could see that now it becomes solid. So right here for our tabletop, we don't want this to move. So we can right click here in the tree and click round. All right, so now that's not going to move. Let's move on to our left leg. So if we click there, you could see now that we're activating our left leg by doing that, or you can right click, activate, as we did with the right leg, or you can just click this little button right there. So we click the button and now our tabletop has gone translucent. If we want to bring it back, we can click here, and that's how the tree works and everything we've done. So here for our tabletop, you can see down here in the bottom, we have this sketch and we have the tabletop extrude. So if we wanted to change our dimensions, we could right click, edit sketch. Instead of 48, we can make it 55 and that would update. And that's the power of 3D modeling. So if I want to undo that and take it back to 48, now it's back to 48. So for the left leg, we are going to have a 2-inch overhang on either side of the leg for the tabletop. So we're going to click create sketch, and it's looking for something for us to sketch on. We could sketch on the planes, or this face here for the tabletop is actually a plane as well. So we're going to click on that. And now we're on the bottom of the tabletop. So we're going to grab a 2-point rectangle this time, and we're going to click the top here so that it snaps to it. And we're going to click the bottom of our tabletop there. So now you could see that it's already snapped and we can't drag it up or down. We can move it right or left because it's blue and those aren't fully defined. But we used existing geometry for the tabletop to snap for our legs. We said we wanted it to be thickness of plywood. So if we click sketch dimension, left and right, and here we make this 0.75. Now we have the thickness of our plywood and we said we wanted a 2-inch overhang. So if we click here on the left side for the tabletop and the left side for our left leg, and we click right there, we're going to make that 2 inches. So that's exactly what we wanted. And we're going to unhighlight our sketch dimension tool. So here now we have the thickness of our plywood. And if I rotate it, and you have the 2-inch overhang. So our sketch is fully defined. It's all black. And we can go ahead and finish sketch. Okay, so if we zoom out, you can see this will start to shape up like the leg in a second here. And right down here, we have our sketch one for our left leg. We're going to extrude it and give it some volume. And we're going to click this profile. So here on our extrude, it's asking for us to select a profile again, and we're going to click there. And then we're going to drag this down. And that's why it was important that we sketched our tabletop up so that we could take advantage of the legs going down. So here we want our tabletop and our legs, basically the height of our tabletop to the ground, to be 29.5 inches. So if this is 3/4 of an inch, that means we need it to be 3/4 of an inch plus 28.75, which will equal 29.5. So here, 28.75 for our left leg, and we press enter. So we have from here, and if we hold shift and then control and click, it's 29.5. And at any point, if you want to inspect, you can click the measure tool. You could click the top, and then you can click the bottom here, which would represent the ground, and you could see we're at 29.5. So we're at the perfect height that we want to be. And at any point, if we go to the top level, you could see here that we have both of them now solid again. We have our left. Now we need to do our right, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to activate our right leg component, and then we're going to click on this face, and we're going to click sketch, create sketch. Now we're in sketch mode again, and same thing, a 2-point rectangle. We're going to click the top and bottom so it could snap so that we don't have to take any dimensions and add them, or we don't have to make any measurements. We can just use existing geometry. And then we're going to go to sketch dimension, We're going to click left and right there. We're going to make that 3/4 of an inch again. And then we're going to add that 2-inch overhang. So from the right side to the right side, we're going to say this is 2 inches. And now that matches exactly like the left side looks. We could have done a mirror, but that'll be in a future video. So here we just want to get practice with this. And now we have the same profile on the right side that we had on the left side. And here at any point, if you go back up to the top, you could see that all of our features are down here. So if we want to roll the tree back to this point in time when we just had the tabletop component, or when we just had a sketch for the tabletop, we can do that. And that's what's really cool. You can travel back to any point in space and see exactly what the model looked like at that point in space. So here, if we move it to the right, it adds the extrude that we did. And if we move it to the right, it adds the ground that we did. And if we move it to the right, and so on. So something that we forgot to do on the left leg is we forgot to ground that as well. So if we go back to the left, where we have left leg sketch, left leg extrude, we can right click really quickly and do ground. And what that'll do is it'll put it in the correct spot in the feature history for us, so that when we go to the right, we now have the sketch that we did over here for our right leg. Okay, so now if we click extrude, sorry, we want to activate the right leg. Okay, if we go to extrude and we click on this sketch profile, we can go ahead and drag that down. We could show the tabletop again. And then we can do two things. We can either do 28.75 again, or we could take advantage of existing geometry. So we've already put this at 28.75. So what we can do here is we can say, instead of doing a distance and typing in a distance, we can say to object, and we can tell it for the extrude, we want you to go to this same plane that's right here. So it's going to be hard for me to do. I'm going to try to do it without zooming in, but basically now on the right side, it's asking for an object to select. We're going to select that. And now that we selected this plane, this extrude automatically did 28.75 because it matched where this plane is. So now our left leg is driving the length of our right leg. And the importance of that is, for instance, in our left leg, if we activate it, if we were to change the length from 28.75 to 48.75, right? If we were to change it to some random number, what it should do is whatever we change the left side to, the right side will also automatically update. So now that we've added 48.75 there, you could see on the right side that if we click on that, that's also 48.75. So that's the benefit of having one drive off the other, is we want our table to always be level. So we're always going to have the same length for the legs. And now if we want to change that again, we can go back over here to the left leg, and we can change this to 28.75, and it'll update the right side, which it did. So we can go back up top here and activate, and you can see that we have our left leg, our right leg, and our tabletop. And right here on right leg, we can just ground that so it doesn't move. And then here you could see that this dash line is for our sketch one for our tabletop. We can just left click there and hide that. And same thing, we can do that for the planes. We no longer need that, but we'll leave that, and I'll do that last. Okay, so we have our tabletop. We have our left leg. We have our right leg. And together we have all three pieces. So what we need to do now is we need to add a crossbar, because in actuality, what this is going to do is if we leave it like this leg would want to fold in and this leg would want to fold in or out, and our table wouldn't be very steady. So we're going to activate our top level. We're going to click Assemble, New Component, and we're going to type in crossbar. Okay, so now that we have crossbar, we've added our fourth component. We can click right there to activate it, and we can add our crossbar. Now, one thing we want to do before we do that is if we try to sketch on this plane, which is what we're going to do, this whole right leg is probably going to block us. It's going to be like that, which isn't going to be very clear. So what we can do is we can go to inspect, section analysis, and what we can do is on section analysis, it's asking us to cut a plane so that we can only see a certain amount of our part. So what our desk, what we want to do is we want to click here on the ZY plane or YZ plane. We want to click OK. So now what that did is it cut our desk in half so that if we're sketching on here, we don't have to worry about the right side getting in our way. And if you notice here on our tree, we added another element, which is called analysis. And here it has section 1. If we hide that, then it brings back the whole desk. So it's a very good way to be able to cut this in half. And so with it cut in half, we now have the room to sketch. So we can go to crossbar. We can click on this plane. We can click on create sketch. And we can click on 2-point rectangle. Now we are creating on this sketch. And we can click the right plane. We can take advantage of existing geometry and click on that corner, and we can click up here. And so right now we have this edge and this edge aligned with this edge and this edge on our left leg. So what we can do now is just set for our 1x3, which will run across the length for our cross piece. So we can go to sketch dimension, and we said it was a 1x3, so it's going to be 0.75 thick, and the height is going to be 2.5 because those are the actual dimensions for a 1x3. So here that's 8.75. Right now we want it to be 2.5. And we're going to drag this down. So we have the rectangle for our crossbar. So we can go ahead and finish this sketch. We can take off our section cut just by hiding it. And you can see now that the reason we got rid of the right side was so that we can easily sketch this without this getting in the way. So now we can click on extrude again. It's asking for a profile. We can click on this rectangular profile. It's asking for distance. We have two options. We can measure from this plane to this plane, or we can just say we want you to end up here. And so we're going to use to object again instead of distance. And it's asking for an object, and we're going to click this face on this body. And there you go. It tells us it's 42.5. And again, if we ever change the width of our desk, everything will update. Okay, so now there we go. We have our crossbar, left leg, right leg, tabletop. So we have all that. And if we go and activate the top, you could see down here in our feature history that everything that we've done so far has been captured. For our crossbar, we can right click ground. I believe we did that for the right leg. Yep. We know we did that because it says unground, so we grounded it. And then here you go. You have, if you go over here and click the home button, you have everything you need to make your simple desk. And then for origin, we can hide that, and then we can hide the analysis. So that's basically how you make a table in any 3D modeling software or a desk in any 3D modeling software. They all work the same. They just have slightly different commands. And you may do things in a slightly different order, but not by much. And then what we're going to do here is we're just going to change the appearance. So we're going to press A on our keyboard, and our appearance panel comes out, and we're going to make this cherry. So we're going to click cherry, and we're going to drag it here to each of our 4 components. So we're going to drag it to the tabletop, and you can see that changes it. We're going to drag it here to our left leg. We're going to drag it to our right leg. And we can leave our crossbar. We can make that another color. We can drag it to be bamboo. We could do whatever, but we're just going to match it and drag it to be cherry as well. And then we're going to hide our appearance panel. And as you could see there, we have a nice and beautiful simple desk. And if you want to measure it, you can. So if you click on the measure tool up here, you can click from this edge to this panel, and it'll tell you that the distance from that edge to this face is 46 inches. If you want to find out what the width is of this cross piece there to there, it's going to tell you that's 3/4 of an inch, 1 to 2. It'll give you any dimension you want. When you want to start over, just click in the white space. So from here to here is going to be 44 inches, and it says right there 44 inches. And then from tabletop to the bottom is going to be 29.5. Also, so if you want to rotate, hold shift and the middle button. If you want to zoom in and out, scroll the middle button up and down. And if you want to move this thing from left to right, just hold the middle button and move your mouse left to right. Okay, so now we're going to close out measure. We're going to click home so it puts in a nice view for us. We're going to hit save, and we're going to call that the end of the video. Thanks, guys. Let me know what you guys thought, and let me know what you want to see in a future video. Peace.